Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Oops.
Insert dance number here.
Okay, so if you guys want to find this movie on Letterboxd, it is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four
Four
S's,
S's,
three
and
H's, and some
3
dots.
H's.
Why are there more S's than H's?
Because you gotta go.
I-
That's how it's pronounced. It's gonna
Think
be
twice before you suspect.
the worst episode of this
What?
podcast.
That's what on the cover it says. Think twice before you suspect.
Oh
dot
shit!
dot
There
dot.
you go. I guess there was a tagline. What a fucking terrible tagline. This is episode 243 of I Hope You Suffer.
Shuffer.
My
Shuffer.
name, I am the third S in
I'm H2.
I'm the second
dot.
slash middle ellipses. Yeah.
We are talking about 2003's Shh, aka the Bollywood Scream. Only made a perfect amount of time, almost a decade later than Scream.
It's also the Bollywood I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh
Yes,
my god, I
yes.
fucking lost my mind when they done that scene happen.
What? No wonder this thing's fucking 3 hours long, because it's 2 different hour-and-a-half movies put together.
And my favorite thing too is that it's like Scream, original Scream, but then I still know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
Not I know what you did last summer.
But
So it's like
straight up dialogue ripped from the fucking iconic scene of I Know What You Did Last Summer of what's her name fucking screaming come and get me or whatever after the
I don't even remember that.
yeah it's after they she opens the trunk full of a dead body and crabs, then opens it again.
No,
and it's gone.
I know the scene in the actual movie. I didn't pick up that they did it.
It happens
in Shush.
sometime during the fucking hour-and-a-half beach scene.
Oh.
Like something happens where I think maybe it might have been after what's her name gets killed underwater, which rocked. And I think they come out, and she comes out, she starts freaking out and screaming at nobody and does that whole fucking part. And I was like, oh, come on. Yeah. So this movie was almost right under 3 hours, like 2 hours and 43 minutes or some shit. And I would say an hour and 20, kind of a banger if this movie was like roughly an hour and a half. But that whole middle section is brutal.
Of those 3 hours, like 2 hours and 50 minutes are Dutch angles. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. There's not a straight on camera shot in the whole goddamn movie.
Out of like all of the I've watched maybe 6 now of these sort of like Bollywood American movie remakes, and like it seems like the ones that are supernatural based are way cooler than like this kind of was just this like just straight up slasher thing. Like the Evil Dead one rocks because they legitimately just do like basically just straight up Evil Dead, but there's like a fucking whole dance music video in the middle of it for reasons. And we did like Mahakal was like pretty cool. And like it seems like the ones that have some sort of just like a supernatural thing to it work way better than just these straight up like, or I guess I don't know. That's just the problem with this one is just that whole middle section after they like go on vacation is just brutal.
Yeah, the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer section.
I was like way on board for like, about like the first 45 minutes or so when you got like, you know, this dude, like just the fucking creepiest version of Ghostface I've ever seen. This fucking clown mask, like killing people. And then like the end, when you sort of start getting closer to like the reveal, is pretty good. But it's just, yeah, that whole like middle part where they go on vacation and they're just like hanging around Bangkok for some reason, and they're playing soccer on the beach for like 20 minutes. Just too long.
It's like an entire soccer match happening in the movie.
It is too, because like it is kind of like the first half of the movie and the second half of the movie are different movies. So they go back to like, even though people have been killed at this point, like once they decide to go on vacation, it kind of like restarts the movie. And so they're like back before bad stuff has happened, and they're just like having fun. And the guy is like going to propose to his girlfriend or whatever. So it's just like, and I think like my problem with like the ones that we've watched where like there's costumes and like creatures and whatnot, the dance numbers are a lot more interesting, because this one is kind of like Grease, where the dance numbers are just like one of them, they go to like some kind of dance club or something, and there's just like a random dance sequence. And then the other one is like they're at a party and Rocky is having like a moment where he's like, I love you, or whatever the song it was, and it's like the same. I don't know, it just like it was
the
weird.
The only one I specifically remember at this point, because just we watched this like a week ago, was like the one where I think they're like driving to go on vacation.
Yeah, the travel montage.
Yeah, and like it's like it's staged like a music video a little bit, where like she'll like they're driving and she'll be singing as they like drive by her on the road, but then all of a sudden she's in like the back seat of the fucking Jeep and like all that shit.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. They so I also there's only like we talked about this before we recorded. I think there's only like 3 songs.
I think,
which is
something I looked at listed, maybe Wikipedia. There's like 6 songs total, but I think there's only like 3 sort of like big elaborate like dance things.
So there's one
at the party
when the movie starts that are credits that is extremely cool, because it's this version of Ghostface, I called him Shushface because, you know, I do love that they kind of like literally was like, what's like, let's make a movie that's kind of like a bunch of these slashers all put together. But obviously the storyline, I'm going to argue something here. I think the twist at the end is better than the twist of regular Scream.
I think if you cut out the entire middle hour, 15 minutes or so, this is a better movie than Scream.
Well, and so Shushface. So there's a scene in the beginning where this is our first like musical thing, where it's basically somebody singing who I assume that this person is probably like known, because it's like she is just herself, and I don't think she's actually in the movie. She's just like, so the little music, this is like the title, and then the credits play, and you get Shushface walking up the side of a mountain, not like a hill, like the fucking mountains, like picturesque Rocky Mountain.
Yeah,
like obviously it's not the right.
Never.
So, and so it's like him walking up the mountain, and then all of these other Shush faces show up, but they're all wearing white, and then they're all like dancing on the mountain as this lady's singing this like eerie song, and I was like, okay, like this is
sick.
Not bad. Like I'm enjoying this.
Super sick.
Only good song, in my opinion, only good song in the whole movie. The rest of it was just like singing mostly about love, but like, and I don't know, I haven't watched like a ton of Bollywood movies, so I don't know if this is common, but they were kind of singing the same line over and over and over again. Like this, like, so it just was like kind of boring. And then I don't think that the choreography was very good. But yeah, there's like barely any singing, and I kind of, again, maybe I was just being ignorant about it, but I definitely expected there to be more for the movie being 3 hours. So I wouldn't say I was necessarily like happy that there wasn't singing because I was like looking like I don't know. I just expected there to be more.
It gives you at least a 6-minute break, like 5 times in the movie, from having to take notes.
So I really listen. I was like, maybe I should rewatch it again. Definitely not. There's no way. Three hours.
I know, I was going to too, but I was like,
deep.
yeah, I'm good.
So I pretty much just like wrote down a line for every scene so we can kind of go over the plot of the movie and like how it's different or whatever. But I don't think it is my personal opinion. I don't think that this movie is better than Scream. I do like the twist better. And I think for what it is, it came out in 2003. To me, it looks older than that.
Yeah, I had no idea this was from 2003. So the first like 10 minutes, I was like, man, for a newer movie, they did a good job making this look like it was a 2000s slasher. I looked it up and I was like, oh, I'm just a fucking idiot. Okay.
I think it's on like more than likely it's just a budget thing because I think on like if you look at like the like overall country kind of movie producing wise, I think like it's US, India, and then Hong Kong are like the 3 top like movie production places where like India puts out almost the same amount as like the US alone. And so like they film shit like just get that shit done and it's out, and like I'm assuming it's a bit of that and budget, and it's like because everyone I've watched I feel like it kind of has the same look to it despite being different decades and shit.
Yeah,
because I feel like I've seen like a one from the 80s, a bunch from the 90s, and now like a couple in like the 2000s, and they're all just sort of have the same like look to them.
Yeah, they also just sort of look like kind of like shot on video type stuff. Like it wasn't terrible, but I'm just saying it looked dated compared to what I would expect. Like when I was like, oh, it's 2003 or whatever. But I will say like overall, I thought that they did a pretty good job of like emulating, aside from what we just said of the problem where it's like 3 different movies. I thought they did a pretty good job of like taking the idea of Scream and like some of the scenes and like kind of making it into a new movie. And I don't want to say that I liked the Shushface, but it was definitely scarier.
I think it's creepier at least. Like I mean, it's just like it looks like a clown, but like it's definitely creepier than Ghostface. But it is a smiling clown, so it's got like chubby cheeks, a clown, like a red clown nose, like a smile, and then like very thick eyebrows, and then like the eye holes, right? But the eye holes you can't see through, and it's smiling. So to me, and then like, so the thing in this is that basically, Shushface, and then also he's wearing all black, but it's not like a weird robe. It's literally just like a black outfit with like a hood, right? It's almost okay. And he does this thing where he literally shushes, like he puts his finger up to his mouth and he goes shh, and it's like it's creepy.
He's a rude guy.
Yeah, he's like
that's his whole get up. He's just a rude man.
And I thought that there was some pretty good like parts. I don't want to say that I got caught by any of the jump scares, but I liked the jump scares, and I thought the gore, surprisingly, I really liked.
Yeah, it was a lot more violent than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. But like overall, I think I might have given it 3 stars, maybe.
I did. I think you gave it 2.5. I think Kate
gave
it
2.5. Yeah. I think really for me the problem is just obviously 3 hours long, and again, just you hate everybody in this movie. Everyone, and they're supposed to be terrible, but like, I don't know. So
hating someone for 3 hours is a big ask.
It's a long time. Yeah.
I don't mind hating main characters, but I've got to hate them for 3 hours. Like, come on.
Before I start not the sort of not plot breakdown, I have a soda talk moment.
So do I.
All right, what do you have?
Pitch Black Mountain Dew.
All right, what is that?
I can't tell what that flavor is. I think this might be like a grape or berry flavor.
Ew. What is the label? What is it supposed to be?
I mean, it doesn't
Pitch
say.
Black.
It's just, it's always just
Oh.
like citrus drink or fucking whatever, but it's like very dark purple.
Gross.
It's
That's not Pitch Black.
honestly better than any of the other flavors of Mountain Dew I've had besides like the regular.
Is it worth that terrible fucking WWE match that Bray Wyatt wrestled?
I don't know because I did not watch that match, so probably.
I did, and it was the fucking worst
All I've
thing I've
seen is
seen in 20 years.
The clip of probably Bo Dallas missing that elbow.
Missing the elbow drop.
Oops.
I mean, this is
What
good. This is one of the ones I probably would be able to finish this bottle, but like probably never buy again.
You think it's grape though, or
It's
maybe
definitely-
like blackberry?
Yeah, it's
or...
like a grape or like a dark berry flavor. I can't really place which. It's all right. I need that strawberry cream Dr. Pepper immediately.
I am about to try strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I'm so mad. I can't find it anywhere.
This sounds terrible to me. Again, will repeat, I don't really like Dr. Pepper.
Fuck her off
Unbelievable.
the podcast.
Offended.
It smells like cherry Coke, which I also don't like.
Wow. 0 for
Sorry.
2. It's the second best Coke.
Or
What a whirlwind of emotions happening.
it honestly just tastes like if you mixed a cherry Dr. Pepper with like the soda, like you know how they did the soda shop ones?
Yeah.
Like that's what it tastes like. I wouldn't say that the flavor tastes like strawberry to me. It tastes like cherry, which honestly
No,
it probably
better.
is. So if
They're-
you like cherry, you know what? The aftertaste is nice. It's kind of marshmallowy.
There's a place, at least in Ohio, we used to go to a lot as a kid, that like would do like a regular Coke where they would then put in like strawberry syrup or like a chocolate
Right.
flavor, shit like that, and that's like all I ever want, and that's what I assume that's gonna kind of be like. So I want to try
It
it.
tastes like very strongly. Like if you gave me this and you gave me like a cherry Dr. Pepper or whatever, I don't think I'd be able to taste the difference. Like
I need that Baja Blast hot sauce so bad.
oh
'Cause
my
I
gosh,
assume
yes.
The
it's
fuck?
fucking terrible. Mountain Dew
I
made
want it.
something like 500 Baja Blast hot sauces that they were just like giving away that you had to sign up to possibly win, and I never heard back, so I'm assuming I did not win.
Ugh. Oh, man,
Devastating.
That sounds amazing.
It's gotta be so gross.
I mean, there's this place by us that does wings that carries like a specific wing that Corn makes for them, and they're so freaking good. And they do this one hot sauce that is a kiwi habanero, and it's so good. So I think like the sweet taste of Baja Blast with hot sauce sounds very appealing to me. They could mess it up, but oh my gosh, you know what I had this weekend that was vile was my aunt got these chips that were like Guinness chili chips or something,
Nope, no thank you.
and I don't know like what the word chili means to them, but it tasted kind of like dog food, and it was so disgusting. Anyways,
Yeah, hard
okay.
pass on that.
Chili
Yeah,
dog food.
It was disgusting.
Not want a chili dog.
I love chili dogs.
Me too.
Okay.
We'll start doing that we'll replace soda talk with chili dog talk. We'll all eat a
Alright.
chili dog every
a
episode.
different kind of chili dog.
Hell yeah.
Give me a Chicago dog. Okay. One of the things that I enjoyed about this movie, Shush is that, and again, I don't know how common this is, but they just like full on spoke full English sentences just like randomly, which I found exciting because the subtitles would be like, somebody would be like, the subtitle would say, "Oh no," but what they actually said was, "Oh shit." And I was like, haha, some people don't know what that means, maybe. And it was just like so funny to see them just like openly cuss, but then the subtitle would be like, "Golly gosh." And I was like, okay.
I wish every movie like should just be golly gosh for every curse word.
Then
Amen.
they would just be like, "Good luck, girlfriend." And I was like, wow, I liked it.
Although I will say, what's the Big Lebowski has the greatest fucking TV edit.
Oh, absolutely.
This is what happens when you find a stranger
Find
in
a
the
stranger
Alps.
in the Alps.
Have you not seen Big Lebowski before, Katie?
When I was whatever year it came out, probably. I'm not like an enthusiast.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm not either, but I'll still probably see it like once every year or so.
Oh, absolutely. I've probably seen it once ever.
There's like a scene where John Goodman's like destroying someone's car, and he's like, "This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass." And they changed it to "Find a Stranger in the Alps" for the TV edit.
It's absolute nonsense.
And it makes,
I mean, I can see it. Like,
I love when like you know, that feels like it has to have been like a Coen Brothers thing. But,
Right.
like, I love
Like,
when
they
just
demanded.
make fun of all of that shit by just making the most absurd like edits for TV.
well, that's also like when like anime, specifically like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, you know, like all of that older stuff when it first came to America, they would dub it, and they just did a horrible job. So sometimes the characters would just say stuff that didn't make any sense, but it was because they were trying to like fit the mouth movements or whatever. And you get a lot of really weird stuff like that that just like makes no sense.
Hire us to do TV dubs for your movies.
I watched this DC movie last night, Vixen, where it wasn't very good, unfortunately, but it had like Flash, Arrow, Cisco, like a bunch of people from like the CW live action shows, and it was like actually them doing the voice acting. Some of them aren't super great, and of course I was like watching that and I was like, I think I could do that. Like, I'm going to try it. So we'll just do it.
Let's see if we could find a movie that we could just take all of the audio out of, and then we'll just do it ourselves.
That's, yeah.
Katie can do all the sound effects too.
I think we have a hit. Honestly.
That'll be the new Patreon thing every month. Just a fucking TV
Katie.
episode. We'll just do an episode of The Office, but it'll just be all of us doing the voices. And
I would love that. That would be amazing. Okay. So Shush. I didn't write down everything because I also noticed that the first thing I wrote was the subtitles, LOL, which is the shit and oh no thing I was just talking about. And then I wrote, I don't know. I wrote, what the fuck? How do they not notice Shushface standing there? The mask is ridiculous. And then it cuts to the credits in the music video of Shushface dancing on a mountain with people dressed in white. And so what happened actually at the very beginning of the movie is there was somebody playing what I assume... Wait, it's not pickleball. What is that called?
I don't remember. I have no idea. Was it squash?
Is it squash?
I think it's where they're like hitting like some ball against like the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I only know that because I've seen every episode of Frasier now, and they're constantly playing squash.
They also have that episode where Jim in the office pretends like he knows how to play squash with Robert California, so they can whatever. Squash just seems like. Anyways, there's a girl playing squash, and there's a guy who is like mentoring her, but also being very weird and creepy and being like, somebody could kill you and nobody would know. but then he gets killed immediately, so that was weird. And she like runs around, and like Shushface is there and ends up like stabbing her and pushing her into a pool. And it's like all pretty cool, but that's like the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I was way in during this. I was like, oh shit, I did not expect like this movie to like be as, I guess, as violent as it starts out like it's like you think it's gonna be.
It's also like pretty bloody overall. So like they did a good job with these aspects of it. Then it cuts to 6 months later, where we meet the main character, whose name is starts with an M.
I don't remember anyone's name.
Mihawk? It's something with an M. Anyways, we find out that the woman who died in the beginning of the movie is her sister. And so 6 months later, she's like messed up from it, right? She is just shopping. And she gets a call at a like she's like in a store shopping, and the phone rings, and she just decides that she's gonna pick the phone up, which was really weird to me. And on the phone, you don't
answer the phone at like grocery stores.
I said, "Well, I'm not gonna help." And it's Shushface, and he's basically like, "I killed your sister, now I'm going to kill you." And she's like, "Okay, that's not great." And then she's like, in the store,
normal reaction like, to that phone call.
Yeah. Hallucinating that there's a guy in the store who's going to stab her. But then she realizes he's not going to stab her. His name is Siraj, and they immediately fall in love and find out they go to the same college. Then we meet all of her friends, which are really annoying. One of them's name is Rocky. One of them's name is... I don't know. Who
cares?
There's a bunch of them. And her best friend or whatever. And the only person who is like really important in this group, mostly, not really, but like they're all okay, whatever. Anyways, Rocky is basically jealous because he's in love with the main character, and she obviously is in love with Siraj. So then there's a scene where a teacher gets murdered in the bathroom. Again, pretty cool situation here.
Yeah, I like this scene too.
The police show up and are basically like questioning everybody, like what happened. They find a bloody footprint on the floor, and then they make Rocky and Siraj put their feet up next to the bloody footprint
because science.
Yes, because forensic files. Have you heard of it? And
I just like the one cop being like, like 80% of this campus has that size shoe, right?
No, this is how we get our.
It's like a size 9, which is I think a pretty common like male shoe size.
But my favorite thing too is that the cop just basically like points someone out of the crowd and was like, "I don't like the way you look. Come stand next to this bloody footprint." Like that's what they got on him.
Just contaminate this crime scene.
Absolutely. And Siraj's shoe size. Also, they're just eyeballing it too. So they're not looking at the tread under his shoe or like looking to see if his shoe has blood. They're just like, that looks about right. You probably did it. Then we get a flashback from the main character of her parents fighting and her being a kid for some reason. There's like a lot of layers of trauma going on with this woman, unfortunately. Then there's like this whole scene with her mom, who is an artist, and she's got an art exhibit. And so her mom is going to go away just for a couple hours, and she's like, "Are you going to be okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But she's not. She's immediately attacked by Shushface. There is a shining moment in this movie too, where he chops down a piece of the door and then like sticks his little mask in, and it's pretty great. And then this, I feel, we've talked about this before, where like I feel like most of the people, if I had to go up against a ghost face and it's like always someone I feel like most of the people I'm probably okay. Not Shushface, because this man kicks down an entire door. He just kicks it down. And it's like not a flimsy like particle wood door. It's like a solid wood oak door. He just kicks it down and then he like walks on it, and she's like, then she just, she like, I don't know. This whole like chase scene in the house is pretty good.
Yeah, I like because there's like the scene where she like smashes the table into him and shit, and like,
and then the table. So yeah, so she, they're like running around. He's got the knife, of course, slashing at her or whatever. She's like throwing stuff at him. Then she pushes the dining room table into him and like back into the fireplace, and then he catches on fire. And I was like, "You go, girl!" And then he runs out of the house. Of course, immediately Siraj is there, suspicious, and there's like a scene where she recognizes this watch that he's wearing is like the same watch that the killer was wearing when he was trying to like, push the door open or whatever. The police show up and find like discarded Shushface stuff in the dirt, and they arrest him. So they're like doing this whole thing that they did in Scream, where they try to make the boyfriend look guilty and then be like, oh, he's actually not guilty. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that. But it's like, yeah, I mean, you've seen Scream, of course. Okay, so then after she's like, there's also like this whole scene where she's on the phone just like screaming like, mom, help me. And her mom's like, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Hey, what's up? What's happening? And she's like running around the house screaming or whatever. Okay, so after that, Rocky throws a party at his house, and her friend talks her into going. So they get there, and immediately Rocky is like hitting on her, and there's like this whole dance number that's essentially him hitting on her. Somebody's in Rocky's room and points out that he has size 8 and 9 shoes. And he says, well, yeah, it's because I'm 8.5, so I wear both sizes. Yeah. Sure. So in this movie, they're kind of making Rocky, who is like not a direct. It's kind of like if they took Skeet blah blah, who I'm talking about, from Scream, and then like split him into two people, because he's like Siraj, the actual boyfriend, and then also Rocky, the wannabe boyfriend. So it's like kind of a weird thing because they're both like implicating them, but also making it seem like they're not. I don't know. It's a very strange angle on that. Here's another instance where somebody, the subtitle says, "You scoundrel," and what they said was, "You bastard." I liked that.
Scoundrel is a way better word.
Scoundrel is because when you say scoundrel, you think dastardly, you think mischief, like you think bastard is like whatever. Everyone's a bastard, Shushface. Oh, okay. I actually really liked this too. So after the dance number, Mahek, which I think is her name, it's coming back to me now, and her best friend, Gina, leave the party. And Mahek is basically just like, I told you this was a bad idea. Like, we shouldn't have gone, whatever. And so then, I don't remember if she gets a phone call at this point or not, but basically they're like driving through the fog, and all of a sudden Shushface is just like standing in the middle of the street, which is terrifying. And so
yeah, this is like this is after they left the party, and there's like insane dance number where they're like fake playing guitar and shit like that.
Yeah,
incredible dance scene.
Oh, I did write dance break with electric guitar specifically, but that's basically the one I was talking about, and that was gross because it was just Rocky being like, I love you, and she's like, please stop, and he's like touching her and like trying to make her dance and stuff, and she's like, and it's just like a college party. I don't know. So Shushface is in the road, and they veer, to try and miss him, and they crash. So they go down this ravine, and they're like in the water, and he just like pops out of the water and is like fighting with her and like throwing her in the stream and whatever. And then Siraj and the cops show up and fight with him, and he runs away. And they like chase him down. I don't even know what you would call this. It's basically like a reservoir that has like a dam wall or whatever, and he just like dives into the water, like zip, see ya, like blue.
This whole little side storyline with this is wild.
So I wrote, Shushface seems to have completely disappeared with 2 hours of the movie left. So they show all these like news reports where it's basically talking about how he's like disappeared and he's not killing people anymore. And I was like,
no more shushing.
Somehow though, all of a sudden, there's a guy with a fish hook in a big fish trench coat,
a raincoat,
thing. Yeah, raincoat.
Yeah. Like essentially
the hash slinging slasher.
There you go. So,
The
end.
Oh, okay. So he jumps into the water.
As far as I'm concerned,
they're basically because this is kind of like where the first half of the movie stops being good. Like, there are some things I feel could have been cut out of that first half, but for the most part, it's like pretty old. And they're saying that's suspicious because it was, they're basically trying to allude to the fact that he's the killer because he jumped in the water to escape, so he got a cold from being in cold water because, duh, of course. And then Rocky's just like, I don't know, that other guy has a cold too, so it's probably him. And then they just like drop it, which is really weird. There's this like whole side. I mean, it's fair, right? Like, for real. Then there's like this whole
at all, but
you don't remember when they're doing the road trip and he's riding the motorcycle and she's like sitting backwards on him on the motorcycle, and I was like,
Katie, that's an Aerosmith video.
Well, Aerosmith ripped this movie off. Okay,
sounds familiar, but like we said earlier, it's been a week, so I feel like everything post the sort of like reservoir scene up until what's her name gets killed in the water, I'd like sort of blurred out.
Yeah, and
I just remember right towards the beginning, whenever he first shows up on his motorcycle, he's
basically just like, hey, sorry, that I got you arrested for being a murderer. And he's just like, it's fine, I guess. But you need to, but you need to buy me a coffee. And she's like, okay. So they go, and then she tells the story about how her dad left her family for another family, and then he ended up dying in an accident. So she's like all messed up about that, right? Then the friends decide to take Mahek to Thailand. This is when there's a montage song about going on a road trip.
Of course, every movie should have one.
So, yeah.
Imagine,
The Godfather,
Monstered with a nice break in the middle for a montage about going on vacation.
Goofy movie has a lot of song montages about going on vacation, and it is like the gold standard of film. So I feel like if it worked for that, it should work for anything.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
A Goofy movie?
Yeah, I think that came out like right as I was like just old enough that like I was like, this is baby stuff, and just like never watched it.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's like one of the movies I watch on my birthday every year.
I know it's one of those ones that like everyone just slightly younger than me is like still kind of obsessed with, but it was just like right out of that
I think that whole like era of movies were kind of like right on the cusp, where if maybe they came out a few years later, I'd have been like, no. Okay, so they're going to Thailand. Meanwhile, the cops have dredged the lake and they have found Shushface's body. And it's just some random guy. But the cops realize that it's just actually some guy that they killed and put in the costume and threw into the water. So they're not as clever as they think. This scene's pretty cool. The Mehek's mom is like back at her beautiful, gorgeous, like mountainscape house. She's like, she's an artist, right? We already talked about how she has like the art exhibit she goes to, but she's like standing in front of this like picturesque mountainside, and then she's like, "Oh yes, I'm gonna." So she's got like her easel up to draw, and then when she paints, it's just like stick figures of mountains, and I was like, "Okay, fair." And so she turns to get some more paint or something, and when she turns back around, someone has painted Shushface's mask on her canvas, and it looks very scary. Then she turns around and she gets stabbed.
That's the prop I want to own from this movie, is that easel.
The painting?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very eerie. Also impressive that literally they could just paint that right up as she's just got her back turned, you know?
Side note, if anybody wants to give us a bunch of money, there's currently an eBay auction for freaked continuity Polaroids that I would like to buy.
Wow. So yeah, Mehek's mom gets murdered. R.I.P., but very cool. Then they go to a discotheque. Their words, not mine. And we get literally a music video in the discotheque.
I mean, if you're gonna do it anywhere.
Yeah. So then we kind of just get like a bunch of scenes of them being on an island vacation, and there's like a bunch of island vacation stuff that happens, as it were. So then there's a scene where Genha, which is Mehek's best friend, confronts Rocky, because Rocky is basically just like, "Why are you always such a bitch to me, huh?" And then she's like secretly in love with him, so she like comes on to him and is like trying to kiss him and stuff, and he's like, "Gross, get away, not interested." And so she's like, fine. They immediately cut to a beach volleyball or soccer or some kind of sport where Genha's leg gets hurt, and so they take her into they're staying in like huts basically, and they like take her into the hut, and they're just like, okay, like she's like, I need to go to a doctor, I need to leave, and they're basically just like, no, like we want to have fun on vacation, so you just stay here.
Very good friends.
And yeah, so they leave. She is immediately strangled by the murderer, and the murderer sees his face. And I was like, you bitch, you better tell me who it is. But she gets strangled. And there's a scene where like she immediately gets strangled, and then the other girls start coming back to her room to get the camera, and Shushface just like rolls over and lays on the ground, and she's just like laying there dead with like her eyes open and shit, and they come in and get the camera, and they're like, oh, she's sleeping, and they like slam the door, and I was like, oh my god. That night, Mehek is attacked by Shushface, and okay. The other friend, it's Rocky and Rajet. So they're the two like bumbling goofy guys. There's two of them. So they basically took like the two guys and then Stu and whatever and like split them into two people. So there's like four dudes for whatever reason. So yeah, she gets attacked. She goes to Rajet. I can't read my writing. Anyways, she goes to him for help and is basically just like, I'm being attacked. And this is where we get the like meta thing where he basically talks about how in horror movies, like she's the main character, so she's not going to get killed first or whatever. And like everything's probably totally fine. And then Shushface busts in through the window and like grabs him, and he's supposedly dead. And she's like, oh my god, oh no. And she like runs around the beach screaming till Siraj and Rocky both find her. And this scene I thought was great because when she's running away from Shushface, it's nighttime, and then she runs onto the beach and it's daytime. So, you know, pretty cool.
Oh god, this whole fucking section sucks so much.
Yeah. We're getting to like kind of kind of the good part again. So this is when Motorcycle and like his girlfriend are like talking about maybe they will get married in the future or something, and she's like, "Oh, do you love me?" And he's like, "I love you." And then they start rolling around, like barrel rolling, but like attached together, and they like roll into the sand, like into the water, and they find Genha's dead body. And I was like, well, that's what you get for rolling around like that on the beach. They find her dead body, and they're like, oh my god, like somebody's here really trying to kill us. And so they decide that the best solution for the situation that they're in is that they're just going to all sleep together in the middle of the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only smart thing to do.
It works though, because they wake up and nobody's dead. So there you go. Then they were going to wait till the morning to leave the island, which I don't really understand why. So of course, when they wake up, their boat is missing. And then they decide to spell the word help on the sand using driftwood. Then they build a raft, and they get on it, and they start rafting, as you do. And then the raft takes on water and breaks. And they are, of course, like in the water, in the ocean. And then the motorcycle guy's girlfriend gets her neck slashed under the water. So first of all, the raft breaks apart and everybody goes down. They come back up and they're just like, oh, where's that girl? Oh no, she can't swim. And so the guys are like diving down into the water, and it's like very obviously that they're shooting these scenes in a pool.
Oh, it's so
and then
obvious.
Showing
so funny.
The above shots of them like in the actual ocean. But like I kind of liked the effect of it. Like I thought, obviously
it's just funny because it's like the water is like drastically different colors.
Yes.
So
and you can also see in the pool shots, you could like
see the walls.
The walls. But like I was like, okay, like good for them. So they're like diving down trying to find her, and I love that Shushface just literally like glides by like an Olympic swimmer and just like cuts her neck open. Somehow in his costume.
It's legitimately pretty awesome of a scene, like
it looks, and they don't cut away from it either. So like it looks legit. I was impressed with it. What I like about this so much too is that it's like very obvious at this point that that they're on an island by themselves, right? So one of the group is definitely Shushface at the very least. And somehow this person has been on the raft, gone underwater, changed into their costume, killed this lady, changed out of their costume, and popped back up.
Yeah.
Like, amazing skills here.
Oh, wait. No, because there's two of them. Spoiler. And isn't one of them, like, not there with the group?
I think they all are, because they slept on the beach together.
But both of the brothers?
Oh, the one guy... Never mind. The one guy they think is dead. So never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like when you get to the end, there was I feel like it made sense, but...
I forgot one of them fake died.
This movie should have gone full Fight Club and just ripped off that too. And it should have just been that she did it herself.
I agree. I love
that.
Make
the entire beginning make zero sense.
Anyways, the raft breaks. That girl gets sliced. Her neck gets sliced open. They come back up onto the sand, and it's like her, the main character, Rocky, Motorcycle, and Suraj. And so the motorcycle guy basically is just like, oh no, my fiance, I'm so sad. And he is really sad. And after they like lay around for a little bit, he decides that he's going to run into the jungle to find the killer and avenge whoever. So he runs off by himself. After a while, and so like at this point, they're like really heavily leaning on Mehek thinking that Rocky's the one that did it. So Rocky is like, I'll go in there and find Motorcycle. of course, he finds the motorcycle dead, and she's like, "You are the killer. You have to be." This scene also very cool because Rocky is just like walking around, like looking for him, and he just like stops and is like looking around, and then there's just like blood dribbling, and then the motorcycle guy like falls out of a tree, and he's like dead. But it's very cool looking. Then it seems like the perfect time for Rocky to confess to Mahek that he's in love with her, right? And he's like, I wouldn't do this. I'm in love with you, and I always have been. And then Siraj is like, hey, that's messed up. She's my girlfriend. And then they start fighting, and I wrote, it's ridiculous. So I can only imagine what was happening. Then the cops show up, and Mahek finds out that her mom has been murdered by Shushface, and she faints. Then when she wakes up, she gets attacked. She runs out. She finds that the cop has been killed. And Shushface falls on Mahek, and then somebody shoots him. And it's revealed that Shushface was also a cop. And we're like, to be fair, this cop had a suspicious face about him because they would do this thing where he'd be like standing in the background of a scene, and then they would like zoom in on him, and he'd be like giving side eye. And I was like, okay, like obviously it's not him, but
he was. I thought they say something at the end that they like threw the costume on him.
Yeah, he's not. No,
Oh,
he's
okay.
not. I'm just saying that like they tried to set him
that?
up. No, they tried to set him up like he was like suspicious, and so then when they uncover that he's supposedly Ghostface or Shushface,
trademark Shushface.
They're just exactly. They're like, you know what? That's weird. So then Rocky starts laughing, and I wrote, Rocky starts laughing and is like, be with me, and Siraj shoots him and then shushes her and grins. So this is the reveal that Suraj, the boyfriend, is actually Shushface and has been this entire time. So then he confesses. This is the whole turn. This is like the whole plot right here, right? So Rocky is like, so yeah, now you see that I didn't do this. Please be with me. Like everything will be fine. Siraj shoots him, and then Mahek is like, what's going on? And then Siraj gives her the shush, right? And then grins very creepily. And she's like, okay, what's going on here? And he was like, this is the sitch, okay? It turns out that she was talking about how her dad had left her family for another family. It turns out, well, the story that Siraj gives us is that his dad assaulted his mom. And because of that, she died by suicide. And so, which is like not really the same story that she told. So like, who knows? But this is what's going on. And so, her dad didn't actually die in an accident. Siraj killed him and made it look like an accident. And so now, you know, he just wants to destroy her family the way that her dad destroyed his family.
Yeah.
Which, I guess. So basically,
I mean, I guess it makes sense when you think that like wasn't what's his name, like the whole Skeet Ulrich thing about like her mom.
Yeah, like right, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. We have two different stories here. Like either the dad left to have another family or not. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So he is basically just like, I'm gonna kill you because your dad ruined my life and my family. So he hoists her into the air and he says, you know, like I killed your dad and I killed everybody else. And basically he says that he planted that cop as being Shushface because he was like, he killed him and he was already dying. So he just like dressed him up so that he could like stand up for a little bit and then fall over and die or whatever. And then he's like, this is when we get the double reveal, which we kind of already spoiled. But at this point, I don't feel like I suspected this at all. The reveal is that in this movie, the second Shushface is actually Siraj's little brother, who is Rahet,
He's who
who
I
has
said
been a part of
was like
their family the whole time.
the Matthew Lillard of the movie.
Yeah, but it's like him and it was like him and whatever. They kind of like made it, like took both of those two characters and split them and then put them both into Rocky, because Rocky was acting like all stupid like that in the beginning too. So it was just like a weird thing that they added like a third guy for no reason. But he's been a part of their friend group the entire time, and they've never they gave him that like meta thing about talking about how it's a horror movie or whatever. And so like at that point, I guess I should have expected it, but I just kind of wasn't. So they got me. And they're basically just like, like, oh, I want to kill her. And he's like, no, I want to kill her, bro. And he's like, no, little bro, I want to kill her. And he's like, okay, you can do it. And so basically they're like fighting over who's going to kill her. But then Rocky shows up and he hits Siraj in the head. And then he shoots Rahet in the leg, and then hits him in the head, I guess. Shoots him in the head. Oh, no. Okay, this was cool, because when Rajet, I wrote his name down wrong. So when the little brother takes his mask off, he, like, puts it on the back of his head. So when Rocky shows up, he, like, shoots him in the head, and the bullet comes out of, like, the clown nose part of it, and it looks really
I forgot about
cool.
That.
It was a cool shot because they show it from like behind with the Shushface mask. Then Siraj wakes up and is just like unhinged at this point because he finds out that his brother has been killed, and Rocky is going to shoot him, but then it turns out that Rocky's out of bullets, so they fight again, and Mehek ends up stabbing him, and then Mehek and Rocky escape on a cop boat. And then it ends abruptly. They literally just like get on a boat and drive into the sunset.
Yeah, you gotta save it for the sequel in 10 years.
Yeah. So
the end.
That was it. That was Shush.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
3 out. I would never ever
rewatch
it again. But they did some really like impressive stuff, and I liked like kind of the twist that they took with it. It did feel like, it didn't feel like a ripoff to me. It felt like more of like I really like this movie, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do my version. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't just like just a straight up note for note Scream.
I guess I wish. What I want is somebody to do a Bollywood version where the fight scenes and stuff are the dancing.
That'd be interesting. So it's just Thriller.
Yes. I literally was gonna say, so like Thriller. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't know why that's why I expect every time. I don't know if that's, but
let's I bet there's got to be one of them out there like that.
Isn't there? Did you watch the? I was gonna say Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, like that? Yeah, the Mahakal or whatever. That was the Nightmare on Elm Street one that we already did. But there was a bunch of shit cut out of the version we watched, because remember we watched the version and Lori and Aria watched a different version that were like sort of different. And I mean, I watched it, and it's like you're not missing much. All it really is there's like, I think there was like copyrighted songs that were like cut out.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just, even though I'm not partial to the singing and dancing, I guess I just want more of it if I'm specifically gonna watch something like that.
Yeah.
But
all right. Any news? Did you look at anything?
No.
Yes, I'm looking right now, and it's nothing super interesting.
Bleak.
There's apparently a new Children of the Corn coming out, a remake.
Oh, I did see that.
It was supposed to be out 2 years ago, but test screens so bad that they pulled it from release and had to try and re-edit it to try and make it watchable.
It's a good
They
sign.
could have just
Promising.
scrapped it, but whatever.
So I guess I know we'll be doing that movie
Yeah,
when
I'm
it
down.
comes straight to Tubi in a year.
Yeah. As now a To Be original.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything else is just like everything else I'm seeing is just like, oh, here's the special features on this release. It's not like
Yeah.
anything super interesting. All right. What Kit, what'd you watch lately? Since it's been like 2 weeks.
What have I watched? Hold on, sorry, I gotta pull up my Letterboxd because I don't remember off the top of my head. Wow, not a whole lot actually. Attack of the Beast creatures.
Oh, it's
Fucking-
so good.
What a fucking ripper of a zero budget film. But got dudes falling into acid lakes and melting away.
Wow.
Horrific little dolls that, like, whenever you lightly tap them, they just kind of fall apart into a whole bunch of gore.
It's
Fucking, it's so awesome.
maybe one of the best blind buys I've ever made.
Yes. The only blind buy better was the other movie I bought along with it, Undeclared War, from Ringo Lam.
Hell yeah.
Super fucking sick.
I can't wait to get to that.
That's gonna send me on a big Ringo Lam kick. I just know it.
Yeah, after Burning Paradise, was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I was immediately. I was like, I gotta watch all of his movies. Whatever the one of the Jean-Claude, is it In Hell maybe is what it was called? The Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he's like in a prison sounds incredible.
I think that's what it was.
It's
What's the
something
other
like
one?
that.
Like Death Warrant or
Yeah, I
Death
can't
Warrant,
remember. I know
maybe.
he made 3 with him. And
Yeah.
It was like In Hell, Replicant, and something else. But I like the little audio essay thing on the Burning Paradise Blu-ray talked about how like In Hell is supposed to be like super bleak, and I was like, I'm in.
fuck yeah. Then I watched The Last Broadcast, which Dylan had mentioned to me when I was on his podcast talking about Scorpion King, and it popped up on Shudder, and I was like, "Fuck is this?" And I just started watching, and like, it's pretty interesting for like 3/4 of it. It's like, its thing is it's Blair Witch before Blair Witch actually came out, and then it just kind of like cops out and has the dumbest fucking ending. It's about some guys that go into the woods looking for the Jersey Devil, and one guy winds up coming out covered in blood. The other guys are found in like 78 different pieces chopped up, so trying to get to the bottom of it. It's like, oh, I'm in on this, until it's just like, oh no, it gets really stupid, and it takes kind of a fucking dumb turn
Just
like
falls
70%
apart
of the
at
way
end or
through.
whatever.
Yeah. It's like, man, if they had stuck the landing, I think it would have been really good.
I feel like I have that sort of issue with a lot of like found footage type things where like I feel like the
interesting concept that just
or like
doesn't support its weight.
they have like a really strong like build up to something that like just like I feel like that first Paranormal Activity movie for me was like that, where I was like I was pretty in with like the build up and everything being like creepy, and then like the ending I was just like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Then I watched Return of the Living Dead Part 2, which I'd never seen before.
It's not great.
And yeah, no, it really wasn't.
It's better. It's better when you watch all 5 of them or whatever in a row. But
Yeah.
like,
I like that they have the 2 dudes from the first one like come back and basically just reprise their roles.
Yeah.
Like it's the exact same dynamic and characters, just with different names. That's pretty funny, except that like the entire movie is just kind of rehashing the first one, but worse.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it loses some of its charm from that. And then I watched Demon Island, aka Survival Island, from the director of King Cobra, a personal fave. And it's not very good, but it's pretty fun to throw on like in the afternoon, and it features some terrifying like island pinatas with that were done by the Chiodo Bros, which
Just kings.
are
Whoa.
always fun to watch murder people.
Hell yeah. Katie, what'd you watch?
Nothing. Just kidding. I watched the opposite of nothing.
So something.
Everything. Everything. Let's see. I watched this movie called Inheritance. That was Simon Pegg and Lily Collins, and I did not like it. It's on Netflix. It's basically like this. It came out. Oh, you know why it came out this year? No, it came out 2020. It was basically like
So this year.
This girl's father was like a super big shot guy, and then I think it was Mr.
I want
Big from
business
Sex and the
cards
City.
that say super big shot guy. That's my job.
Okay. Yeah, it's, if you know, you know. And he dies mysteriously and like leaves everything to her brother, and then secretly leaves her a man that's chained up in a bunker or something, and it's Simon Pegg. And then it just like she has to decide if she wants to let him out or keep him chained up, because she's like, I'm a good person, and there's like a moral conundrum, but it wasn't very good. Then I watched a really, really terrible movie called The Darkness from 2016. That should have said it all.
Yes.
It had Kevin Bacon in it, and the boy who plays Bruce Wayne in Gotham. So that's why I watched it. And it was like very terrible and a kind of like a supernatural like movie, but it was very much appropriating like native people's lore behind it, and it was very stupid. Don't recommend. Then I watched, I think it was called I'm Not Okay With This, which was a series on Netflix that starred like two kids from It Part 1, the girl and one of the dudes, and I meant to look up their names, but it's not on the series. It's not on Letterboxd. And it was really good, but I assume at this point that it's canceled because it's a couple of years old. But she basically is just like having a hard life and find out that she has powers, and like the season finale episode is like fucking bonkers and really good. So if you want something short to watch, like I recommend it. It was really good. Then I watched The New Mutants for a bonus episode that we did on The New Mutants. Then I started watching a bunch of Marvel stuff. So I watched the She-Hulk series, which
Rocks.
is amazing, literally so good. I'm kind of bummed that it took me so long to watch it, but at the same time, it's like I still have to wait for a season 2. Literal no complaints, 5 stars all the way, very good. Then I watched the Miss Marvel TV show, which actually I was watching when we watched Shush, so that was pretty fun because there's a lot of like cultural like parallels between like what was going on in both, and there's like they even talk about Bollywood movies in Miss Marvel. Nathan and I like kind of talked about all of these. Miss Marvel just kind of didn't really do it for me.
I feel like we'll probably break them down a lot more in like whatever bonus episode we do next. At some point.
I think because
instead of talking for
fine.
45 minutes while Kit sits there.
I know. I was like, Kit's gonna be so bored. Overall, I think like I don't feel like I wasted my time. It just is like very obviously for teens. So if you have somebody who's a teen that you're like, maybe you don't think they're old enough to watch like Daredevil, because that's like pretty violent, then I feel like this is like a good medium. Then I watched the Loki show, which also wasn't like, it's good. I wasn't super, super crazy about it. Was that the first, what came out first, Hawkeye?
No, Loki.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like I could tell I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes, but like overall, just wasn't super like impressed with it because then I watched Hawkeye afterwards, which I wasn't really expecting to be super into, but I really loved it. And my literal only complaint about it is that everything it like takes place over Christmas, so there's like Christmas music as part of the score, which extremely not into. But there is a really, really cool Avengers play that you get to watch in the
I want to
show
see
that
that
kicks
whole
ass.
play so bad.
Literally, I was like, please, somebody do it. I want it. It's so good though. I don't have anything else to say other than it's really good and you should watch it. Even if you don't necessarily like Hawkeye as the character, which like I could really not care less about him. But he was really good in the series, I thought. And his dynamic with Kate Bishop I thought was really cool. And I like her. It was good. Then I'm almost done. And then then I watched Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, which came out last year. And the animation's kind of weird because it's like computer animated animation, if that makes sense. But overall, it was really good and I liked it. And it stars, Superboy and Damien. And I thought it was really cute movie overall.
I need to get to that.
Yeah, it's good. And then I watched Vixen, the movie, which is what I was talking about earlier. That is just a DC movie starring the character Vixen. And unfortunately, it was not good. They just there was 10 different plots in it. It was really strange the way that they did it. There was absolutely no, like I said, that was the one that had Flash, Arrow, Cisco, straight up CW people for no reason. There was literally no reason to have them in this movie. That was supposed to be about her. And I like her as a character. But yeah. And that's it.
Some of these I talked about last week with Lori, but I watched Crimes of the Future finally. And it's pretty good.
Hey.
Need more ear guy.
I want that purple candy bar.
It seems pretty crunchy. It might be good.
Yeah. It'd be a cool way to die, I think.
I also watched Skinamarink, which I was not into. Not enough ska.
I think we talked about that too, because we were singing the elephant song.
Well, I think it's come up the last couple episodes, because Shane had watched it, and I think at the beginning of the last episode we were all on, we were talking about it, but I had actually watched it after that. It's just too long. It would be a really interesting, 30-minute short or something, but...
It started as a short, right?
I don't know.
I know the director did some shorts anyway. I don't know if they were direct precursors to Skinamarink or would become Skinamarink. I hate saying Skinamarink. It sounds so fucking stupid.
I don't like it.
It's just for a slow burn, it is entirely too long. Of nothing really happening. It's, I don't know. I'm glad there's some sort of low budget independent horror stuff getting a lot of national attention, but it just was not for me. Vampires on Bikini Beach I watched, which is...
That sounds way more my speed.
It's a little too heavy on the comedy for a horror comedy from the 80s, but totally worth a watch. I think it was free on YouTube. You can find it. I watched Freeway. Freeway is fucking wild.
Fuck yeah. Freeway rules so hard.
It's a fucking experience. I had never even heard of that movie until Vinegar Syndrome put it out, and Reese Witherspoon delivering some dialogue in that movie.
Oh my god. Fucking Kiefer Sutherland's so slimy.
Oh man, he's got that fucking weird mouth after he gets all fucked up, and the Severin, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, perfect. Just incredible release. Also the Vinegar Syndrome From Beyond Blu-ray, just both of those look incredible. I also watched She-Hulk, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And was surprised how good Black Panther Wakanda Forever was. Kind of wasn't sure what to expect with it, and it was surprisingly good. The dude that plays Namor, killing it. I need more shirtless time of him on screen. I watched Abel Ferreira's Body Snatchers, which I'd never seen. Which
pretty good.
I really liked it. There was a lot of the reviews where people being like, this doesn't feel like an Abel Ferreira movie, and it's also not a good Body Snatchers remake, and I was pretty on board with it.
It feels exactly like an Abel Ferrara like big budget Body Snatchers movie.
Yeah,
so like I don't know what they were expecting.
I don't know what anybody expected from that movie, but it's the fact that it's even watchable as a like third or fourth Body Snatchers remake is a miracle.
Right.
And then I watched Vinegar Syndrome's release of The Infernal Rapist, which was
what a name.
It's like a, I think, Mexican movie, and it's wild. It's just like a dude.
Not surprised to hear that.
It's definitely a movie. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it is. It's like pretty well made, and there's some pretty incredibly bad special effects in it, which are always fun. I watched The Invisible Maniac, which is a little less fun, but like totally watchable. It's just like the guy they cast as like the dude who becomes invisible has the most obnoxious laugh on earth, and he just does it constantly.
I hope whoever lives at my old apartment enjoys the holographic.
Oh, did you leave it?
Slipcover that they got?
Oh, it got delivered there.
Yeah,
that sucks.
I forgot to change my address because I ordered it like 8 months before they announced what it was.
Could you imagine just opening whatever that is, that slipcover?
It's like, what the fuck?
And then I watched the Made in Hong Kong box set, all bangers.
Yeah, I might have to get that.
Erotic Nightmare is fucking great. The Demon's Baby is also really great. And then the third one, The Deadly Camp, is like a little too kind of cut and paste slasher than I was expecting, but like totally fun and watchable. Anthony Wong's in all three, so, and he's always great. I watched an SOV movie called Shock Chamber, which is this weird Canadian like anthology horror that was terrible. I watched Heavy Metal Massacre, which was also fucking terrible, but baffling and kind of interesting to watch. It's just like,
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's, you know, if it's an hour and a half movie, at least 50 minutes of it is just like a montage of the dude that made it in heavy metal gear that just looks like a music video. But like,
amazing.
They also use every special effect they probably had on their like 1989 desktop to edit it. So it's got like the most absurd fucking like fade ins and fade outs and star wipes and all of that kind of shit.
Perfect.
I then watched The Toxic Slime Creature from 1982, which was terrible. It's like just a bunch of people trapped in a warehouse as like toxic gas turns something into a slime creature that you barely see. And then the last thing I watched was Moon of the Wolf, which was like a 70s made-for-TV movie Vinegar Syndrome put out, and it's fine. It's it's like a werewolf movie, but like, you know, 70s made-for-TV. It drags a lot until you get to like a pretty good kind of climax. That was it. So, shout outs. Katie, what do you want to shout out?
I definitely had something last. I'm just gonna shout out. Thrice put out a revisited version of The Artist in the Ambulance for the anniversary, but it's got special guests. And
Coolio.
Oh
yes.
Man, R.I.P. Pour one out.
There's a song they redid Paper Tigers with Holy Fun, and it is so good. So that's my shout out. they're all good, but the guest ones are like at least a little different,
Right.
you know.
What about you, Kit?
Invertebrates, because having a back is awful,
It's
and I'm very jealous of them.
Pretty fucking bad. Spines are a mistake.
Yeah, stupid. Some real dumb shit.
My shout out is Detroiters, the greatest show ever made. I'm like almost through season 1, and there's an episode with Keegan-Michael Key, who, like, the entire premise of the show is Tim Robinson and Sam Richardson are like dudes who make commercials and like advertisements for people, but they're always the most like absurd possible thing. And like the entire series feels like an I Think You Should Leave sketch that was just turned into 20 episodes.
Fuck
And
yeah.
it fucking rocks. It's so good. Like, but there's this Keegan-Michael Key episode where he plays like Smiling Jack, a furniture salesman, and all of his billboards are him like smiling with this huge like open mouth that people keep drawing dicks and like people shitting into his mouth and all this stuff. So like they go to him and like, we want to help you make like some new advertisements and commercials. And they plan this like big elaborate like one take commercial for him to do where he's like, you know, our prices will make you pop, and pops a balloon and walks over and is like, you know, our like inventory will make you flip, as this lady like falls out of a chair. And I forget what like the line is, but he gets to this one where a guy's supposed to jump out in an ape costume, and every time it does, he thinks it's a real ape and gets freaked out. And it's his like, they do one of those things where they do like, it's like take 57, take 63. They keep doing it every time he gets so scared. It's so fucking funny. It's legitimately might be the funniest show I've ever seen.
You sent me a clip of it that was pretty funny. I have never heard of it.
I didn't know what it was. I guess it was on Comedy Central sometime between Tim Robinson leaving SNL and starting I Think You Should Leave. And it's just like, if you're into I Think You Should Leave, just like the absurd comedy, it's just that, but like 30-minute episodes with one storyline, and it's pretty fucking great. Alright, next week, what was it, The Greenskeeper?
Yeah.
Fucking The Greenskeeper on Tubi with a Kip Winger score, which I am baffled by.
Can't
I can't wait.
Haven't seen it since like 2005.
I am
Sure, it's great and holds up.
Can't believe Kip Winger did the score to a movie that came out in like 2002.
Yeah, and doesn't feature any underage women.
Hey, that's what the 80s were about, Kit.
Yeah.
I remember, like, because my parents, like I've talked about, were like into metal, and my mom was like way into like hair metal and shit. It's in the 80s, and I can remember the first time, like, I remember hearing that song a bunch as a kid, and then the first time it really dawned on me what those lyrics were, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know if this is something you should be singing about.
Yeah.
And then you just realize every single hair metal band was just singing songs about fucking like 16-year-olds. Yeah.
Sir, aren't you 40?
At bare minimum, you were in your late 20s to early 30s when this song came out. Hair metal, pretty bad. Greenskeeper, I'm going to assume, pretty great.
Gotta be.
Alright, if you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IPSufferPodcast. Like Katie said earlier, we did an episode on the New Mutants, and we also had an episode on Freddy Got Fingered this month. Both bangers. Sometime
Of varying degrees.
Sometime soon. I guess Freddy Got Fingered was January, wasn't it? All my times fucking blurred together. Sometime soon we'll have like our best of bonus episodes where I'm gonna talk about Jackass Forever for a long time.
Yeah.
Katie's gonna be real bored.
Can't wait to talk about lighting a fart underwater on fire.
Finally, get 4 movies and a TV show, and they finally get it to happen. I'll talk about that.
2 decades in the
The
making.
pig cum scene.
Ew.
Which one?
Fair. The one where Pontius drinks a glass of it. I just on his own.
God.
Oh.
Just unprompted.
Oh man, we're watching that tonight.
Yep,
That movie's
that's seminal, right?
perfect. And he's like, it's a little better than the horse, but you can buy merch at our store, Frontier Shop. Follow us on Instagram at IOP7 Podcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitrification of Blood. Follow Katie at Werewolfface. You can join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. Katie, your commission's open right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Give Katie money.
Please give me some money.
Not even for art, just give her money.
Just you. Yeah. Give me money. I'll take it. You got it. I want it.
I'll give you her address and you can send her checks.
Well, I don't
See
know
if
that, but...
just go to her house, test her water.
Yeah. I lost my water tester guy. I need my water tester.
You can listen to our other podcast named Cape Movie Club. We did an episode on Waiting to Exhale recently.
Finally.
And honestly, I don't know how it took that long because it's like Kayla's favorite movie. Yeah, Greenskeeper next week. Gotta be a banger. Probably gotta talk about Blades.
Keep it green.
Extremely normal of a title, so I'm a little concerned.
Wait until you see the DVD cover.
I am fully expecting it to just be a bad early 2000s slasher movie, so waiting to be surprised.
I can deal with that though. We'll see. The tagline really got me, so I've got high hopes, which might be a bad thing.
Kip Winger
but...
got me. You know, Kip Winger's in there. I'm in.
All right.
All right. I hope you. Shushface, was that what it was?
Shushface, yeah.
I hope you shush face, but why?
Face, but why?
Shh.